I was born in San Francisco, California. Only lived there for 5 years, and my parents moved over to Europe. They were both educators and got jobs with the military school system. So I traveled a lot. We would be in a small town in France for a year. My father would be the school principal and the 3rd and 4th grade teacher. So it was very varied, and I got exposed to a lot of different cultures. Both of my grandmothers were musicians. On my father's side, my grandmother was a trained classical pianist. And on the black side of my family, my grandmother played piano in church, and music was always around me. My parents loved Ray Charles and Ella Fitzgerald. And so I didn't even grow up thinking about that as being jazz. I just thought that as being music. Also, my mother studied opera. She wanted to be an opera singer. She would bring me to the Munich opera house to see Lulu and all kinds of things like that. I really appreciate that now that she did that. I played clarinet when I was 13. You know, in beginning band, you get the instrument, and I remember taking it out of the box. I was so excited. It was like a world opened up. And then I started playing it, and I just said to myself, I don't know how, but I know I'm going to be a musician. That's what I'm going to do. Music is life. I don't see a separation. That's my breath. That kind of gives me sustenance. I had gone to Berkeley School of Music right out of high school, and I started working professionally when I was 19. I was very lucky to be living in Europe. I was already different. Being a woman wasn't as big of a deal, and so that gave me freedom to play. I played all different types of groups. I had my own quartet, quintets, and big bands. So I got a lot of experience that way. The whole time that I was starting to play, I also was getting a great jazz education, because once we moved to Munich, there was a great club there that everybody played at. So I saw everyone. You know, Thad Jones, Mel Lewis, and Art Blakey, and Cedar Walton, and Dexter Gordon, Slide Hampton. So I learned so much just from seeing that live. I had talked to Art Blakey, and he told me I should come to New York. So I left Munich. From there, I was extremely lucky that Andy McGee, the teacher I had at Berkeley, Melba Liston called him up and said, I need a tenor player. I want to start an all-women's group. And he recommended me. So I went from not knowing what I was going to do to touring internationally with Melba, which was an amazing experience. It gives me great joy, especially to write music. Playing, I have to work harder, but for me, writing just is so fascinating. It's like reading a great novel or something, because you're just trying to follow the thread, the musical thread of your thoughts, and before you know it, 4 hours have gone by. You know, I used to define myself as a jazz musician, but now I feel that's too confining. Just being an artist and a musician, you know, composer. And I'm having so much fun exploring other elements and mixing that into jazz. especially working with classical musicians. Just opens up a whole nother way of seeing things. What I love about M3 is it's so necessary to create your own paradigm of how you want to create music, who you want to create music with, instead of looking on the outside of how you think it should be. And I think M3 does that, the whole goal is community and supporting each other and creating creative spaces that are nourishing. And there's not enough of that. It's a great honor, and I feel like I'm just getting started. So there's so much more I want to do that I feel like I'm just in the middle of my journey. One of the groups that I love playing with now is Alchemy Sound Project, which is a composer collective, and we all play each other's music. And so it's that whole community-based aspect of supporting each other and creating an environment that we can all express ourselves through everyone, a collective effort. Music and art is a spiritual practice. So it's a way of learning about yourself and being with others and communicating and being a community who will probably last a lifetime once you create those connections. And then have that support group instead of trying to do it all by yourself. And that makes all the difference.